Welcome to the MBD podcast, the show where we dig into what's actually working or not when it comes to scaling businesses with the people who've been there. And our guest today's definitely been there. So, Edgar, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell them a little bit about where you've been and what you're doing.
Hi, Jason, thanks for having me. I've been around the market or the business industry for about 20 years. I did
Mhm.
started in the academy world, moving to corporate, a lot of M&A, and probably the last 5 to 10 years, I've been more into smaller companies, trying to help them either build their digital transformation, either build their operational optimization, automation, or just trying to, have a growth, sustainable growth, and have like the right affordability.
Great. And then, so when you first start working with a business who's trying to establish growth, how do you approach that? How do you help them get through some of the challenges and identify those challenges and get them past them?
Look, I think the first problem is usually companies really don't know what they do. And that might
Hmm.
sound tricky because they do. That's what they do on a daily basis, but they're really focused on the day job. And sadly, because of how business works, they tend to forget about the night job. So people know how to run, how to service their customers, they know how to run their providers, service their providers, and they do it in a very automatic process. It's not being automated, it's not optimized, but they just do it. It's what they
Hmm.
know how to do on a daily basis. But when you move into the night job, trying to fully understand the transformational behind what they do, they usually don't do it. They don't have the time to do it. So the first thing that you need to do is fully understand the business. It's trying to know why they do what they do, how they do it, and try to build processes. Even many times they would go and give you the book of process. Uh, Maybe they did that because they had to, not because they follow it. So you need to understand how they do stuff and if it works or not.
Interesting. So, how do you get all the processes together? And then how do you analyze those processes to understand how they're working or if they're not working?
That's a really good question. So the first thing is that when you start asking for processes, people will answer what they want you to hear. That's probably the main challenge that you have.
Yeah.
So you need to get your hands dirty and try to fully understand what they do. It's not about trying to sound nice, but trying to sound honest. So
Hmm.
that's probably the main challenge is asking. A very good tip is just asking again, asking again, asking again. And probably by the fourth or fifth time, someone will mess up and tell you the truth. Now, about making sure things do work or do not work, it's more about KPIs. It's just trying to establish the right KPIs, the right numbers. And those, they tend not to lie. So if you have the right process to capture those metrics and you have the right metric, well, at the end, over time, you will find if that metric is in the right space, if it needs to be improved. Many times there are things that you should not be improving, that you start improving because someone else tells you, but maybe you're on the right benchmark or you need to change it. So I think at the end, it's a combination. It's just about learning about the business, trying to capture those processes by asking, and making sure that everything that you ask and everything that you want to put into the picture, it's into a metric. I think that combination actually works really good.
Yeah, I've always been under the understanding that if it's important, measure it, right? Um, Now, are there particular verticals that you start with to try and identify these processes where you find the biggest bang for starting in a certain area?
Look, I think that at a certain point you have to have a holistic view because reality, I do come from a more operational data tech perspective, so probably that's where I feel more comfortable. But reality is businesses are more like a human being. You cannot learn about one leg without understanding the other leg, if it makes sense. So every business, it doesn't really matter the industry, it doesn't really matter the market. They have about the same things that you should know about sales, marketing, human resources, operations, nowadays, technology, data. I wouldn't put it like something that it's outside of the picture. It's just something that it's horizontal to all the business, your strategy. So I don't think that you should start from any specific point. I think that where you should start from is what the owner of the business tends to move towards, and you'll find
Mm.
that a lot. You'll find that business owners, this guy, it's really operational. So probably start over there because everything around it will be operational skewed. Maybe that guy is a great salesperson. So the same deal, try to understand his perspective from that sales perspective. At the end, you do need to get that out of the picture because we're talking about lying before. In this specific sense, it's not like the guy or the owner is lying, but everything that he does is skewed on what he knows. So you need
Hmm.
to get his attention, get his interest through what he knows, and then try just to put it out of the picture and understanding that at the end your business is holistic and it's a little bit of everything. Like I don't think a business works better if you don't have all those Lego pieces working together.
Yeah. So, and when you're mapping out these processes, you're going that direction of where the focus of primarily the owner is. Do you have particular steps that you take outside of just asking? Do you sit down with them and go through kind of the tasks? Do you use a recording software? Is there anything that you found success with that you may use more than others?
Okay, I think at the end it's about methodology. And nowadays, I would say 3 years now, AI has been a great tool for it. At
Hmm.
the end, when you start a conversation as a human being, you tend to run around the corners. Like it's not like you want to, but you tend to just lose focus, and that's very normal. So what I've been doing for the last couple of years is I've been using AI tools, maybe year and a half, and they are the ones that actually remember me that I might be missing any questions, that I may be missing any programs, any part of the process. Um, if it would be very very like perfect process, I would say it's a very conversational process. But again, the problem is that you tend to forget, you tend to lose focus. So these tools, especially AI, keep you on the right track. I don't know if you've seen how the whole AI world is moving around, but it's not about AI doing your job. It's making you like a super human being. It
Yeah.
just makes you better.
And do you have any particular AI tools that you like to use for this?
Uh, I think nowadays, and this is my tech part talking, I don't think there's a great tool to do it. And the reason it's not because there are not great tools right now in the market, it's because everything has been changing so fast.
Hmm.
So I can tell you that a year ago, probably longer than that, I was using a lot of ChatGPT. But maybe 6 months ago, I found out that Claude has been great about these product models. But
Yeah.
ChatGPT just got a new version, and apparently it's doing it really good as well. So I might tell you, hey, Claude is the best tool right now, and maybe in a month or so, Microsoft will get something in just outside, and it's just changing so fast, and I think that's probably one of the challenge. And I insist I'll have my tech hat for a while that we have right now. I don't think that I think 10 years ago you would find a great tool, and that tool would be working for you for the next year or 2 years.
Yep.
Nowadays, it doesn't work
Month
that
to
way. You
month.
have to be more of a exactly, and you have to be more a technologist and be capable of changing and shifting and just trying to learn from whatever it's out there.
Yeah, it's moving so fast because it's the same thing. It's like, oh, there's an update here now. This is above that one, and you're like, all right, I need something adaptable. And we use backend services like for building out AI solutions like N8N, so that way we can just change the model. We can change kind of the brain of the LLM, right? So it's always up to the most efficient one for that task. And
Exactly.
it is, yeah, it's weird because like these models, these AI platforms, it's like they're different at different things. It's like they have a software developer one, they have a conversational one, they have one that's better for images, they have one that's better for this and that, and it's like, okay, you kind of get the lay of the land, and based on what you're trying to do, you try and match that with it. And it's changing fast. Okay, so cool. You using leveraging AI to build out help with these processes. Now that you identify these processes, what are your next steps? So let's say that you go down, you go, okay, I got an understanding of what's going on here. What are you looking for in order to help identify what you could of an area of opportunity or a roadblock that you may be dealing with, that they may be dealing with that they're kind of aware of, but like they haven't addressed it.
Okay, so the moment that you have processes, it's about capturing pivotal points. It's trying to
Hmm.
understand, based on that process, where is that things do change if they happen. So I'll give you an example. If probably you're running a business, maybe it doesn't really matter how sales are done. I'm just throwing an example there. So even though you do need a process, if you do it really, really, really good or just good, it doesn't make a difference. But maybe in your tech piece, if your CRM it's not working properly, there you have a problem. So it's about
Mm,
finding pivotal points. The moment you find those, it's about capturing the right metric for that pivotal point. So maybe it's time of response, maybe it's the number of processes that are run through a specific moment, but it's about metrics through the process. We usually capture metrics that are financial. It's always about financials. And yes, they do make sense. And yes, you do need them because at the end of the day, it's what tells you that your business is profitable when it's working. But before going to that part, to those kind of metrics, you try to find metrics that are pivotal points for your operation, that actually they change the way your business is run. Again, those are different, even though it's the same concept, it's different kind of metrics. So I'll give you an example. If you have a manufacturer, probably what's not important is how many cars you're delivering at the end of the day. Maybe the most important part is how many air conditioners can you install in a minute. I'm just making
right.
up
Yeah.
examples, but it's trying to capture those pivotal points. If you do that, that's where you'll start finding your opportunities of change.
Got it. Awesome. With where your opportunity to change, and then it's getting buy-in from leadership. Like, do you have a particular way of getting buy-in from leadership so that way it trickles down in a process to get it so that way the end users on board too?
That's probably the hardest piece because at the end it's like with everything else. If you have a problem, I might be willing to help you, but if you don't want help, there's really
Yeah.
nothing I can do about it. So you have two options there. The first one is just wait for someone to ask for help. Usually it does happen. You do find nowadays a lot of leaders, a lot of owners that they understand that they need help.
Hmm.
So that's happening more and more nowadays. The second piece is about building trust. And there, to be honest, I cannot tell you how's the right way to do it. I can tell you my way, which is
Hmm.
being very technical, and I build trust through consistency. Usually telling the same story, the same information, and over time they find that they can trust that I'm consistent.
Hmm.
Is that the only way to do it? I don't think so. There's people that can build trust in different ways, but to make it more generalistic, it's about building trust. I think if someone is not coming to you to ask for help, you need to build a trust. How you do it? Again, it really works in different ways. For me, it works through consistency, it works through loyalty, it works through just showing people that your message is consistent.
Hmm.
I'll repeat the word many times.
Yeah, I found one of the ways I like to build trust is I come in and I get a couple quick wins, some really super easy wins, and then they go, "Oh yeah, that was something, maybe we need to address that or we didn't even realize it." But it could be something as simple as outlining a document or removing a barrier for the team so that way they have access just to do something. Um, to get that initial buy-in and trust from what is about to be, provided as far as solutions when it gets to more details. So now you got the buy, you got the trust. Then in the implementation, usually, so you're measuring and then you're providing that feedback, and then usually you get that feedback and they see it, and kind of where do you go from there? Now that you've got that piece of, you've had that success, you've had that win. Then, are you also working on multiple other sectors at the same time that you've identified opportunities, or do you focus more on a bigger problem versus smaller problems when trying to go? Is a
Um,
combination of all that?
Yeah, it really depends because going back to your idea of just quick wins, I do agree with you that they work really good when you have the trust.
Hmm.
So the same deal on this end. If you have someone, sorry about that. If you have someone who let me go back. So those quick wins. So if you get those quick wins, they might work if you have the right trust. Now, if you go back to people and how you work, either just focus on one big problem or just attacking smaller problems, I always think that focusing is better. I think that if you just randomly go into different aspects, you'll just lose focus and you will probably end doing nothing. But on the other end, if you go towards a very, very hard problem, maybe it'll take a year and a half, 2 years, and people will go and say, hey, this is not working. So I think you need
Yeah.
to find balance. I need to you and I think what you I really like this model where you probably know that the problem is big and you probably focus on one problem, but you cut it in smaller pieces. So within a big problem, you focus on smaller wins. So maybe at the end, yes, you do want to change your I don't know, let's change your ERP. Probably you're changing your whole finance model, and that's your end goal, and that's it. You know it is. That's going to take 2 years. Should you wait for 2 years to say that you're winning? Probably not. Look for those quick wins. Make a small change in billing. Oh, great, billing is working better. So you're moving towards the big goal, but making wins on a shorter basis. That way, that trust it's not lost, and well, and people find it important to continue to work and trust the process.
Yeah, that's a great point. Mapping it out, because you'll find some of those quick, easy wins along the way where you could move those up, or even position them right to where, like, okay, I can get a win here, so that way you've got it built into the system to where they're seeing progress, and it's not like at the end of that 2 year period, it's like, surprise, everything's fixed now, which never happens. But no, great. So now, within where you're at, how are you guys scaling the business? How are you developing your pipeline, and where are you seeing success and having maybe some struggles?
I think the struggles are always the same, even though you might know what you're doing or not. But again, we'll talk in different aspects. Technology, it's moving so fast. You
Mhm.
spend a lot of effort into trying to build something, and maybe the next month a new tool comes by. So it's about being very honest on your design, very honest on what system you should be using. That's again, in terms of tech. Now, sales, that's always a problem. Maybe you talk to someone um, month one and they are not willing or they're not in the right moment to work with you, and maybe 3, 4, 6 months later, um, they're ready for you. So I think at the end it's a combination between just again understanding your processes, updating your processes, knowing what they do and how they work, but at the same time, information and make model and the right technology. I know it might sound confusing, but I think at the end that's the problem. It's how you run through that cycle. Because if you only focus on one of those, you'll probably won't find growth. Yeah, maybe short-term growth. Maybe you have a sale, but you lose that client really fast, or you cannot service that client. So you need to make sure that you never continue to do that at never-ending in a cycle. Sales, operations, tech.
Got it. And if someone's listening, trying to scale right now, what's one piece of advice you wish you had earlier?
Sorry.
So if you're trying to scale, or if someone's listening who's trying to scale right now, what's one piece of advice you wish you had earlier?
I would say that be honest on what you want to accomplish. I think one of the main problems that people have is they want to scale, but really go through the design of understanding why you is it possible to scale. So spend some time on the design of what you're doing. Do not. It's important to scale. The business will tell you. Maybe there are businesses that should stay the size that they are. It's not something here, but it might be true. So I would say before teaching people how to scale, there are many ways to do it. It's really to fully understand if your business needs to scale, or if it's your business, just follow the conversation we had before. Just follow your process, follow metrics, and you'll find it that it's very straightforward. And I think that's the best thing. It's don't don't rush it. Don't do it because you have to. Don't do it because you need to. Do it because your business.
Awesome. And where can people connect with you or learn more about what you're doing?
Well, I'm usually always on LinkedIn. I think it's a great way to find me. I think that it's something that's been working for the last years. You can always send me a message. I'm always willing to have a conversation. People cannot imagine how much you learn from these experiences. It's not only it's. I think at least for me, it's more what you get from these conversations rather than what you give, because people just
tell you stuff, to share their knowledge. So yeah, to your question, I think LinkedIn, it's, at least for me, it's the best way to find me. I tend to go to a lot of conference in South Florida or the rest of the US, so maybe you can find me over there. But yeah, LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Well,
All right.